and welcome inside my favorite episode of the entire year. It is the 2025 MLB season preview edition. I love this so much. All these predictions are going to be dead on. We're going to go 100% from the field. And to help me out and to break down the 2025 season, my guy Tucker Hickman. He hates it when I call this the Justin Tucker episode, but I can't see another way to put it. So, Tucker, it's great to see you. We usually do these once a month. You ready to talk some ball?
Yeah, I am. The Justin Tucker show, that was like a cool name maybe 2 months ago, but in
Yeah.
light of recent events, I don't think it has the same ring to it anymore.
In light of recent events. Exactly. Okay. So we're going to do news at the top, all sorts of stuff, have some really, really fun stuff planned. We're going to do some segments, and we're going to end the show with our season preview and some predictions. So we're going to hop right into it. We're going to go with the news first. And I want to talk a little bit about the Dodgers and Cubs opening series in Japan, 2025 MLB season. I saw a fun fact. It's the first all Japanese pitching matchup on opening day in baseball history. So if you wanted to wake up at 6 a.m. East Coast time, 3 a.m. on the West Coast to watch the Dodgers and Otani, that's what's happening this week. So I have a take on this, but I want to hear your take about just MLB season opener being up 10 days in front of the regular season opener.
Yeah, the timing of it is just really weird to me. I'm with you. Like, I understand traveling to Japan's a big deal, vastly different time zones. You got to give the players enough time to get back, recoup, adjust to American time, all that good stuff. But it being 10 days like before, it's just so weird to me. It's too far.
I looked into it because my first thought was like, because they did this last year when they played in Korea, the Padres and the Dodgers. And it was like, why is this so far ahead of because the teams have to go back and play more spring training after this. And it was like they wanted to give adequate time for rest and recovery. And the MLB also wanted an exclusive event to market. My thought was just like, I love the fact that they're doing international series. That part doesn't bother me at all. It's the scheduling. First of all, like if you're a Dodgers fan, if you wanted to watch, opening day, it was at 3 a.m. West Coast time. They wanted to do it at 7 p.m. Japan time. Why why don't we move the time around a little bit? Make it like, I don't know, lunchtime or something. Like what the being at in 3 in the morning for the West Coast people and also just 10 days in front of the regular season opening, it will never not piss me off, and I don't know how they keep doing this.
I got to push back a little. See, because I don't have a problem with the international series. I just have a problem with it being the opening games of the year. Baseball is the American pastime. Like, your opening series should be played in front of your fans, not at 3 o'clock in the morning in your state where no one's going to watch it. Like, the marketing's cool, but like, who are you marketing to? You're not marketing to your American audience, your American viewers. So, but I get it. They're trying to
Yeah.
grow the sport. I understand where they're coming from. I think the international series are cool. The games in Mexico where they're like 20 to 18, that's awesome. But do that,
Altitude.
like, play a series in LA and then fly out to Japan for the next series.
Yeah. Why also, yeah, why is this opening day? Why couldn't this be like either an exhibition if they wanted to do it in March, if they wanted to work around the Tokyo Dome scheduling for whenever the regular teams play there? But yeah, like I have no problem if you're right. If this is a weekend during the regular season, that could I don't understand them trying to think of like, oh, we got to have these exclusive time slots for, MLB opening day. Opening day is in America is a holiday. It is sacred in towns like Cincinnati. It's basically like that city's like Super Bowl. It's a huge, huge deal when MLB opening day starts here. It just for Dodgers fans, it does lose the luster of it. And then also you have to go back and play more Cactus League after, which will it's so bizarre. But
Yeah. And it's
um
like, I love baseball, but I have zero interest in these games. I don't care.
I didn't watch a minute of them. Well, mostly because they started at 6 hour time. It's like, let me get ready for work and try to catch like a half an inning. No, I'll catch the highlights. I'll scroll the bird and I'll see what was tweeted. But
Yeah. I'll get on Instagram and have MLB just shove Shohei down my throat. It's great.
we got to
I'm
talk
cool with
about
it.
that. I'll bring it up now. We have to get out ahead of and call this out whenever we see this online. It's the glazing of the Dodgers because you'll see like the Fox Sports account was like after the Dodgers won opening day, it was like 162 and 0 is still possible. We got to, as fans, call this out and put a stop to it.
Nah, I'm all about it. I think it's fun.
The glazing.
Yeah,
Your regular Jay Glazer.
as long as it's not like Ellie De La Cruz like they tried to do 2 years ago, that was like, come on. Dude hits a
So
triple and it's like, oh my God, he's really fast.
he is fast. What are you talking about?
Not
Why is
fast,
Ellie catching a stray here?
not fast when you're striking out 250 times. Hope you can walk back to the bench fast.
Oh, so you're fine with the glazing because it's the best team in baseball. Okay.
Nah, I don't care. I hope the Dodgers go 2 in 160 is what I
That's
hope.
yeah. Hey, yeah, I want to see like the faux MLB account tweet that out. But also in relation to the opening like series in Japan, I saw this and it's generated a lot of negative publicity, which I think was not the intended like what MLB wanted to have happen. It was these like video game like reviews that the MLB account is tweeting, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, look at this!" Like the at MLB account is trying to push it. The first one was Dansby Swanson diving in the hole, and the caption was, the replay game has changed forever. No, this is not a video game. This is an on-field replay from the Tokyo Dome." Fire flame emoji, and they think, "Oh my gosh, this is great. This is going to change the game." I think this is an MLB psyop. I think this is all a big conspiracy. They're going to keep trying to tell us that these things are real and like all in an effort to try to get the youths who play MLB the show. They're like, hey, look, real baseball is just like a video game. And maybe they'll pay attention to our silly little game. Most people, if you look at the comments, were just like, can you just show me the actual replay? Like, why do I need? So it's a computer enhanced. It's like 100 cameras stitched together. It's kind of AI adjacent. It looks like shit, but they keep tweeting these highlights out, thinking that people will like them.
I don't know. I think they're just trying to grasp at anything they can right now. So MLB's got an opportunity here, and you've seen the NBA ratings; they're slipping. They're slipping. MLB's never going to catch football, but they got a shot at the NBA right now. So they're just trying to do whatever they can, trying something new. I don't fault them for it. I'm like the old school guy. Like I can get up every morning and just watch like Sports Center when I'm sick on repeat and watch the actual highlights over and over and over. That's cool with me. I don't need all the extra stuff.
Maybe in their mind, they're like, well, people don't want to pay attention to regular highlights with the normal cameras that look real. So maybe they're like, what if we show this thing that it like they tweeted another one. It was like John Birdie also in the hole. That one was way shittier. I don't know who is like stitching these together, and it like the people like glitched in front of them. They're like that one legit looked like MLB like MVP baseball 2005. So they're like, oh, this is blowing my mind. And you got like Ben Verlander like sucking it off too, and so it's like this whole thing I hate. Like just put the regular highlights out, but at what point, because you mentioned growing the game, at what point do we have to concede that this crusade to grow the game? If you don't like baseball at this point, you're never going to like it. At what point do we have to draw the line in the sand and stop doing weird shit?
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. I think the MLB's done a really good job at making a lot of positive changes over the last couple of years, like taking away the shift, the pitch clock, all that stuff's been working. Just if you want to make changes like that. Ones that, people are actually asking for.
The people who watch the games would enjoy.
Because it's like you said, if you like baseball, you like it. But you can certainly lose fans, like I mentioned with the NBA. So that's what you don't want to happen.
They're doing so many good things now. They just need to keep doing more of what works, which is, in my opinion, mic'd up during the games without an interview. Just guys talking, just dudes how they normally talk. I don't need Carl Ravitch asking questions in the game. What if you just keep doing more mic'd up with how they talk normally? I would like that. And also players interviewing players. I love. I will stop and watch like Adley interviewing Colton. Just find the two most charismatic guys and have them talk to each other. I would watch an hour of that.
Yeah, like or even just get like more mic'd up, like catcher umpire interactions or catcher batter interactions. Like the mic'd up moments, it doesn't really affect my viewing experience that much, but I do think it'd be a little more enjoyable if you're watching like a 1-0 pitcher's duel in the seventh inning. Throw in some player on player interviews in there to maybe make the game go by a little faster, give you something to listen to.
Natural sounds from the field are awesome. like, if you had a guy running down a ball in the gap and he's like winded and he's like gasping for air, he's like, that I would watch like the natural, like how they actually interact as opposed to just like, you know, it was a David Cohn and Eduardo, and the ESPN Sunday Night Baseball booth. Like, oh, what do you think about this? It's like he's trying to do his job. Hate
I
that.
really I really like it when like the catchers or umpires are GoPro'd up and you get that camera view for a
Mm,
little bit.
yes.
I like that. It's hard to tell where they hit the ball sometimes, but it's cool to watch.
Didn't they have an umpire cam of Freddie Freeman's homer in the World Series? Am I
Yeah.
making that up?
So like I know like the playoffs in the World Series they normally do it. The All-Star game always has some like cool camera angles and stuff like that. Just do that more in your primetime games, you know?
Yes. Well, it's like college football, like the ref that's in the middle of the action in the middle of the field has like a visor cam. So
Yes.
like they're already doing it. Also, shout out the ref that has to get, avoid being trampled every time the
Like
play's going on.
can you imagine if like when he was still umpiring, if Angel Hernandez just had a GoPro 24/7 so we could see things from like
His
his point of
angle.
view? Yeah, like, oh, why did we call this guy safe when he was clearly out by 2 steps? Oh, this is what Angel saw.
It was clearly 8 inches off the plate and he still rung him up. What? Like,
Yeah. Let's see, that stuff would be cool.
I would like that so much more than AI looking video game replays. Um, all right, next up, Mad Max. This one is hard for me because I did a whole video about how Mad Max is back. His spring training stats this year are insane. He's got 9 innings and 14 strikeouts. He's got a 2 ERA. And we're like, oh my God, Mad Max is back. He's 40 years old and he's dealing. Well, not so fast, my friend, because he has a pretty serious thumb injury that apparently he's had since 2023. And it's going to probably derail his whole season because he's like gripping the ball weird and he's going to hurt his shoulder. Here's his quote. He said, "My thumb hurts. It hurts to grip the ball. The critical thing I've learned over the years here is your thumb is absolutely critical to your arm health. Unfortunately, this is what I've been dealing with since 2023. Man, it would have been cool if the Blue Jays would have known that and like probably accounted for that or maybe just not signed him. Do you think the Blue Jays were sold a false bill of goods on a 40-year-old?
So I think you got one of two scenarios right here, and I think both of them are kind of messed up. So either Scherzer did not disclose this, which pretty jacked up. I think we can both agree on screwing the Blue Jays over if he, doesn't pitch a $15 million contract's worth of games this year due to injury. Second scenario is in the physical, it was revealed, and the Blue Jays were just so desperate to sign someone that they overlooked it, which is
I
equally as bad.
I tend to believe the latter. Yeah, I tend to believe that like because if this has been a lingering thing for him and like they have all this years worth of medical data on, and he's like, no, I can pitch through it. It's like, well, you probably can't, but he's the only like notable guy at that point who had taken their money. So yeah, screw it. Why not?
And I feel like Scherzer would have disclosed it. I mean, he's Max Scherzer. He could disclose an injury, and a team is still going to sign him. It's Max Scherzer. So I'd agree with you. I think it's probably the Blue Jays just overlooking this and just signing him anyway.
Desperation because of that. Yeah, you're right. Because they kept finishing second or third in all these free agent sweepstakes. Nobody wanted to come play in Toronto, and finally they're like, "Oh my God, we actually have one." Yeah, his medical history looks like a game of operation since like the last like 5 years, really since the World Series run.
Well, you can't
He's
say
just.
nobody. They did seal away Santander,
I
which
think that was
hurts.
after though. I don't know. I could be wrong, but
No, I think you're right.
like they were doing it like they needed a guy in the rotation. Also, why is just 1 year 15 mil the going rate for old guys? I think that was Verlander. I think that was Morton got 50. Like 115 is the new just like going rate, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. That was kind of weird, but I've always thought Blue Jays master plan. I definitely think they're going to be sellers at the deadline. I don't think Vlad's coming back. I really don't think Bo's going to come back either. The Blue Jays always kind of just shit the bed. So, I mean, it's feasible. They could be like 5, 6 games under 500 at the deadline. And it's like, okay, let's sell. And I think Scherzer could be one of those guys who they were looking at. It's like he could be an appealing trade piece at the deadline. So I just don't know the thought process. I don't know if teams are thinking, preparing to lose in a season. But I don't think if Scherzer's healthy, I don't think he's going to pitch a full season in Toronto.
Yeah, like this is going to be another one of those like last year where like he pitched. You have like 9 starts last year or something. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it was yeah, it was bad. Yeah, 9 starts last year, all towards the end of the year. Actually, they were spread out, but this sounds ominous. So shout out Toronto, you finally got one. Yikes. All right. Also, we're gonna stick with the pitching. Spencer Strider. So in his first outing since undergoing UCL surgery in April of last year, he went 2 2/3, 6 Ks, all 80 face, were sat down, only threw 4 balls total. Absolutely dominant showing by the mustached man. Um, so we're gonna talk more about like the season preview and predictions and stuff for the Braves, but we can kind of touch on some of this now. Like, how does a healthy Spencer Strider in like a month? How does that impact the way you view the Braves in 2025?
Well, I legitimately think going into the 2025 season, apart from the Dodgers, I think the Braves have the best rotation in baseball. Chris Sale, Cy Young winner, Reynaldo Lopez, if he can, even if he regresses a little from last year, that's a great number three starter in your rotation. I'm going to talk about some other guys in the rotation and a little different segment in our season preview. But Strider, I mean, who's the ace at that point? Is it Sale or him?
Well,
Because people forget,
yeah.
Strider was like Paul Skeens before Paul Skeens. Dude just came up and lit it up. And I think the thing that's most impressive from that spring training start is the 4 balls. Because the only knock on Strider is in some games, like he does get a little wild at times. So for his first start, coming off an injury to only throw 4 balls, I think that is definitely a great sign.
Yeah, it's weird because like my brain it's like a what have you done for me lately kind of thing where you forget how good guys are if you haven't watched them pitch in a while. So it's like, you watched a lot of Braves games last year and you're watching Sale carve and Reynaldo do his thing and all this stuff and you're like, wait a minute, they have a guy that's like a Cy Young contender. And Chris Sale himself said that like Strider's the best pitcher on that team. And Chris Sale just won the Cy Young. So that is high
Yeah.
praise. Like I said, we'll talk more about the Braves in the season preview part, but like the rotation, I have no doubt it's going to be so much fun to watch them in a series against like the Phillies, like those two rotations going head to head.
Imagine a 5-game playoff series when you could get 4 starts of Sale and Strider. It's
That's
the best 1-2 punch in baseball. What team's better?
I mean Wheeler would it be Wheeler and Nola?
Both of those guys are better than Nola. Both of them, I think, are better than Wheeler.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm high on the Phillies. That's a little teaser for later. I'm still high on the Phils. All right, we're gonna stick in the NL East. We're gonna talk about the Miami Marlins. Also, you know what? We've talked about the Marlins. I feel like every time we've done one of these, so it's not even that surprising that I'll bring them up again. So I saw this on
They
Twitter
give
when
us a
it
lot of
first.
material.
Surprisingly, yeah, you wouldn't think a team that has 100 losses would be like content factory, but here we are. I saw this on Twitter. This happened like a week ago. An ad was circulated from the Marlins who were creating a quote first of its kind practice squad where for $150 a day, 10 to 15 days per month, April to September, dudes who aren't pro players, so like ex-college guys, maybe former washed out pro guys, they could practice against the Miami Marlins A-ball team. And then MLB quickly stepped in and said that would violate labor laws because you're basically creating a pseudo minor league, except in the minor leagues, you have like a salary floor or like a minimum amount that like dudes can make. And this like practice squad would pay them like exactly half of what they were supposed to make. They would make like 13 grand if they were playing 10 to 15 games a month in the P squad, whereas A ball players are supposed to make like 26 grand as like a minimum. Um, did you see this? Like, this is the craziest. Like, shout out them for trying to get creative when they cut the minor league systems down a couple years ago. They're like, what if we just make our own?
See, I think it's complete opposite. I think it's a total scummy move on their part. If they were really serious about it, I get it. If it's just a practice squad, you can't pay them as much as your like A ball guys because what kind of message does that send? But I think it's just totally a move on their part to like circumvent the minor league system and, like you said, create a pseudo minor league team where they are basically just paying guys for nothing, like paying no money out to these dudes.
I had the thought, what is their ideal target dude? Like they want him for it's like from noon to 5 p.m., 10 to 15 games per month or days per month, whatever. So like you're just having to block off a large chunk of time. Is it like guys who are like live at home and have no expenses and are like, oh man, $150 a day, I can get five guys with that? Like what
Well,
would be their ideal scenario?
the only aspect where I could see this being like a smart move on the Marlins part is maybe your demographic is like a lot of your international prospect type dudes, but they already have like programs and like South American stuff for like those type of dudes. But maybe that could be like your target demographic. Try to bring in some like younger dudes from different countries who want a shot, want to get in front of a major league team. But then again, like I said, I think there's already programs and stuff in place for that.
There's like academies set up in like the Dominican and Puerto Rico. Like I think that's how Juan Soto was found by the Nationals. I think he was like I think he was a chubby kid in the Dominican, and they went to one of these academy things. So yeah, I just think because like remember a couple years ago when this minor league stuff was all cut down, they eliminated whole leagues. Like we lost the Frederick Keys, who became just like a draft partner league, not even an independent ball. I don't even know what they do now. It's so you said whole swaths of the country's minor league teams ripped out, which the smaller minor league, like the A balls, are when they play against each other. That's kind of like, so we're like seeing how guys can get to the next level. Whereas the Marlins are like, well, what if we just have like a former D3 washout who's like addicted to drugs start pitching against our minor leaguers? Like I don't know what they were going for.
When you're a 100 loss team, you got to think of something to get
It's
some
like
eyeballs.
it's a real Billy Bean Moneyball situation. Yeah.
Yeah, if Billy Bean couldn't pull that off, what makes you think you can pull that off?
Yeah, that was never going to work. I think the reasoning like the Marlins gave was some overzealous staffer posted it without approval or something. So they're just like, oh, we got to throw somebody under the bus for this. This is a bad idea. Um. Anyway, all right. We're gonna talk about the Orioles. We're gonna talk about the Coby Mayo situation. He just tweeted, so this is like I don't know, like an hour ago. So we have an update to this saga. I'll set it up for the people who aren't as chronically online about the Orioles as we are. Orioles number 2 prospect Coby Mayo. He ruffled some feathers with his comments after he got demoted to the minor league spring training camp, and he's gonna have to go to AAA to start the year. For people who aren't as familiar with Mayo's game, in 42 spring at bats, he had 8 hits this year, no homers. In 41 big league at bats last year, he had 4 hits. They were all singles. So, but in AAA last year, he hit 287 with 22 bombs in 89 games. So, guy has proven that he can rake at AAA. Here's the quote. I'm going to read it. I want to get your thoughts on it, and I have a couple other quotes after. Mayo said, "It's definitely difficult." This is talking about getting sent down into the minor leagues. "It obviously sucks because you feel like you've proven everything you've needed to. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it's quite enough. Obviously, you go back there, and if you have success, it's, oh, he's supposed to have success because he's already proven it. And if he doesn't have success, it's, oh, well, obviously he's fallen off. It's kind of a lose-lose going to Norfolk." And we texted a lot about this, but what were your thoughts initially when you heard Coby was speaking out about going to Norfolk again?
Yeah, dude, I don't care about what you've proven in AAA. You haven't proven shit at the big league level. You went 4 for 41 last year with 4 singles. Wasn't it? I'm pretty sure it was 4 singles.
Yep, it was 4 singles.
And I can tell you, I watch almost every Orioles game. They weren't impressive singles. They weren't like line drives off the green monster in Fenway that you just couldn't leg out for a double. They were weak little bloopers that fell into the outfield. I don't care if you're like a AAA god down there. You have not done anything to show that you can hit big league pitching. You could have came into spring training and lit it up and used that as, justification for starting in the big leagues, but not seeing much progression here.
And look, I understand the human element of what he's talking about here because nobody wants to go get sent down to AAA. He wants to be in the show. Obviously, he feels like he's earned a spot. He's proven in his mind everything he can at the minor league. So what the hell is the point of going down to Norfolk and hitting 300 with 30 again? But from a developmental standpoint, it's going to do him so much better, even at this point in his career, to get 4 at bats a day in Norfolk than 4 at bats a week in Baltimore. Like, you've seen what happens to guys who, they kind of done this with Heston a little bit, where it's like there's not a clear spot for him. So they're kind of jamming him in and getting sporadic playing time, and his development's kind of stunted a little bit. It's like drinking coffee when you're a little kid. It's like, why does he look weird now? I don't know. So I get the human part of it, but like, why even put yourself in this position?
I don't, and see, a part of me kind of, I can understand the frustration because it's frustrating as an Orioles fan, like to see what they've done to dudes like Heston, like Jackson Holiday, like Mayo now, where it's like you call them up, and if they struggle, they're not getting consistent at bats. Part of the reason, because Gunnar Henderson and Adley, they both struggled when they got called up too, but they let those dudes continue playing every single day. Orioles are just so crowded. Like, there's better dudes that are going to play over these guys. They could get away with that with Adley and Gunnar because the team still sucked, to be honest. But, and that again ties back to my frustration with the Orioles. Like, you're crowded. You need pitching. Why didn't we trade some of these guys in the offseason? We could have done that.
Yeah, I mean, that was the prevailing take I saw of just like, this is what happens when you refuse to move any of your position player prospects for pitching. I mean, obviously they did a little bit with like Ortiz and um the lefty pitcher that they traded for Burns, blanking on his name, but you know what I mean.
DJ
Hall,
Hall.
Deal Hall.
Yep.
They've done it a little bit, but they haven't done it to the extent that, like, it's going to be worthwhile. Connor Norby is our guy. He was another one of the prospects that they traded, and look at the success he's having playing every day in Miami. He chimed in on the Mayo saga. He had a really long quote. I won't read all of it, but one line I thought was really interesting was just like, every player wants to light the world on fire all the time, even in spring training. But what matters is 162 plus. Stop obsessing what happens in spring training. Does not define what a player is or is going to be, either way, good or bad. I agree with that, but that's kind of an idealistic take on, like, yeah, it would be sick if every player got a full season or played every day to determine if they're good or bad. But that's kind of what spring training's for, because you don't have the ability to give everybody a full season. So it's like, in theory, I love it, but in practice, it's not. Can't really do it.
Yeah, like obviously spring training doesn't tell the full story on a player, but you can earn playing time in spring training. Look at Matt Shaw in Chicago. He's out there starting in Japan in the games that nobody's watching. But still, dude had a good spring. He's on the opening day roster. And I guarantee you, if Mayo would have produced this spring, he'd be on the opening day roster.
And you have the flip side where it's like guys who are crushing it in spring don't do it in the regular season. Spring is just like a different animal. It's like a different ball game base, because you're facing minor league pitching sometimes. Your numbers can be inflated, which also is like worse if you suck in spring training, because like theoretically you're just hitting off an A-ball guy. So it's like, it's kind of a slippery slope there. I don't know. You're right. In Connor Norby's world, where everything is, like that meme of like flying cars, where it's like the future if, the world if. It's like the world if every player got 162 games worth of stats before the team decided if they're good or bad or not. It's like, I would love that. Don't get me wrong. But Mayo, you got to have more than like 12 out of 84 or whatever. Like, I don't know, man.
Concur.
All right, couple last things on the news. So this is an inside baseball thing. Last year we bet a lot on regular season baseball, and I was a sucker for betting on Patty Corbin in the Nationals. I was like, I would text Tucker, I'd say Patty Corbin's back. Look out, Patty Corbin and the Nats are like plus 200 against the Red Sox or whatever. And we're like, no, dude, we're not betting on that. I always did. I have a fondness for Patrick Corbin, obviously what he did for the Nationals. He's back, and Craig Kimbrel's also back. Patty got a 1-year deal with the Rangers. It's like $1 million because John Gray broke his wrist, so they needed innings. Craig Kimbrel's back on a minor league deal. Which of those deals do you hate less?
The Patty Corbin deal. I hate watching him pitch in Baltimore last year. Just broke me. It broke me.
mentally, spiritually. Yeah.
Like I will give Kimbrel this. He did have stretches where he was like dominant. So who knows? Maybe the Braves will need a reliever at some point.
Yeah, I was reading that they're kind of thin depth wise. That they're like, hey, well,
Mhm.
let's give Craig another shot. You're right. I love the Patrick Corbin signing so much. He's a reliable innings eater in an era where a reliable innings eater is not sexy. Don't look at the numbers. Don't look at the earned runs. He gives up like 100 earned runs every single year. It's ridiculous. It's like 30 plus bombs too. But he's made at least 31 starts and averaged 171 innings in every full season since 2017. Not a lot of dudes can do that. So slot him in back of the rotation. Don't worry too much about the wins and losses. It's not going to be great, but he'll give you 6 every night. He's a lefty, so yeah.
Yeah, and I
I
think Texas is due for like I think a pretty big bounce back this year. So I mean, offensively, as long as he can keep them in games, I think offensively they can win those games that he's starting.
No doubt. Yeah, I mean that their lineup it's the best in the AL West. So many they have horses in the middle, so yeah, they're if Corbin goes out and hangs 5 or 6, they could probably come back and win some of those games. So shout out Patty, World Series champion, flags fly forever. Um, Getting another job in a time where most people thought he was done. All right, segments. Here's a couple good ones for you. I'm really excited about this first one. It's called Good Player, Bad Team. So this is identifying a few kind of under the radar for most people, guys on teams that don't get any publicity. Because what will happen is that like all the Dodgers will suck up all the atmosphere and all the people's brains. So we're only gonna be talking about Ohtani all year. There's a lot of other teams and players. So I'm gonna let you start. Give me a couple guys who are good players on bad teams.
All right. First guy I want to talk about Ezekiel Tovar, shortstop for the Rockies. So let's just talk about his stats last year. I'm going to give you at first some standard batting numbers that no one's going to like. But Tovar did hit 75 extra base hits last year. He was tied for the lead of all shortstops in MLB with Bobby Witt with 45 doubles. He also added on 26 homers. I know that's a little skewed, this kind of slugging numbers there, because he plays in course. But I don't care. He's a shortstop. Those are impressive numbers for any shortstop, I think. Throughout last season, he had a 3.7 WAR. Again, pretty solid right there. He slugged, 469 with a 763 OPS. I can't just glaze him too much, though, because there is some downside with Tovar. So he had a 28% K rate last year, and he struck out exactly 200 times. I talked shit on Ellie earlier about his strikeouts, so I got to do the same for Tovar. Also, Tovar doesn't walk. He had 200 strikeouts and 23 walks. That is the second worst walk to strikeout rate of all shortstops. Cedane Rafaela of the Red Sox is the only one worse, but that's a 0.12 walk to strikeout ratio.
It's not great. Yeah, it's not putting the ball in play. Yeah.
No. All right, second guy I got. It's kind of hard to say that this guy is like an under the radar player on a bad team because I think last year everybody's familiar with this guy now, and that's Brent Rooker of the Oakland A's. If you don't know him because of what he did last year, you've probably at least seen some clips of that announcer in Oakland calling his home run calls and people making fun of her. But
Yeah.
we're not going to go there. We're just going to talk about the
Not gonna
stats.
go there.
So I'm going to compare him to other DHs because most of the sites I was looking up his stats on primary position DH. So who were his stats comparable to last year? Yordan Alvarez and Marcelo Zuna, who I think we can both agree with solid players. So he had 39 homers, 26 doubles, while batting 293 with a 365 on base percentage, which is still crazy to me that Tovar had more extra base hits than Brent Rooker, but I digress. So 5.1 WAR last year as a primary DH, pretty impressive. The only guys higher than him, Alvarez, Ozuna, Judge and Otani. So top five DH in the game. Downside, very similar K numbers to Tovar. He struck out 165 times with a 28.8% K rate. The only bright side of that is he does walk a lot more than Tovar. So he's got a 0.33 walk to strikeout ratio. So for every three strikeouts, he's walking once. I think that's a little more reasonable.
I Rooker just got a new deal this offseason too. Good for him. I'm a big fan. We had O'Hearn on here. It was telling a story about him and Brent Rooker would just share the bench in Kansas City and just like they would just they had to fill the time somehow, so they would just like sit with the hitting coach. So
The only
it was
thing that upsets me is after the year he had last year, he definitely could have not been on a bad team this year if he did not want to be.
good point.
Who chooses Oakland?
He wants to see it
Only
through.
Yeah, exactly. Other honor so Oakland, low key a really pesky team last year. I have a couple honorable mentions for them alone. Obviously Mason Miller, everybody knows about him. But Lawrence Butler, who I think has a huge shot at being a breakout guy in the league this year. He's going to steal you some bases and hit you some bombs.
The catcher Langoliers, like
Yeah,
I'm high. Oakland is not going to be a bad team. They're
no,
going to be
they
frisky.
got power. They got some power on that team. They can hit some dongs.
Well, they're playing in Sacramento now, so like I think that might impact some of the home run numbers in a good way. Um,
Yeah,
they're not playing in the cavernous O.co, but yeah, I'm a big fan. I was a big fan of Oakland early last year, and I was like, oh, this Mason Miller guy, they got some dudes.
well, like they
Um,
were they were a lot more competitive than people thought they would be. Like the loss, the amount of games they lost, I don't think is indicative of the heart that they played with last year because they were in a lot of games. Their pitching staff
yeah,
overperformed big time. Their bullpen, solid pieces in there. Like they got some exciting players.
yeah, no, and they added again this year, so I like that. All right, I have a couple, both shortstops. First one, Angel shortstop Zach Neto. He led the team in WAR last year with 5.1. I saw this stat. Bear with me; it's a lot of words and numbers. Zach Neto is one of only three shortstops in the history of baseball with 20 plus homers, 30 plus steals, and 5 plus WAR in his age 23 or younger season. It's like him, Ellie, and A-Rod. So the lone bright spot, if you watch LA Angels games last year, they had nobody else. Like Trout was hurt, up and down seasons from like guys like Taylor Ward. Also, he was like one of the guys that the Angels have done the thing where they draft him and then they just rush him through the minors. And like they're like, figure it out at the big league level. So like they've had varying levels of success doing that. And I think Neto is the positive side. There's been plenty of negative. He is hurt right now. He will be back sometime next month. When he's healthy, he is a legit star. I'm a big fan of Zach Neto over there in LA. My other one, also a shortstop. It is Miami Marlins shortstop Xavier Edwards. So he only played 70 games last year, but he was fourth on the team in WAR. Didn't even play a half a year. Still fourth on the team in WAR. He had 2 WAR. He's an interesting cat. I don't know how familiar you are with Xavier Edwards' game. Doesn't hit for power. 1 home run last year. He doesn't chase pitches out of the strike zone. High contact guy. Fast as hell. He stole 31 bags in 70 games. He also just doesn't hit the ball hard or have any bat speed. So he's pretty one-dimensional. He's only going to slap the ball around a little bit. A real Steven Kwan type is a good comp I would give for Xavier Edwards. I'm excited to see what 600 at-bats in a full year's worth of games would look like for him. Like, I don't know what he's going to have, like 3 home runs, and like he's going to bat like 330 again. Like, I don't know. And steal 65, 70 bases or something. I don't know. That's the only reason I'm going to pay any attention to Marlins games offensively is for this guy.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, you could have a guy in the leadoff spot who's got a damn near 400 on base percentage with 70 steals. I think that's impressive. It's cool, I guess, to see somebody who's not just focused on striking out and hitting home runs. So I think that's cool to watch. And then on Neto, I've always been a huge fan of Neto. Him and O'Hop, I think, are like a really good young combo there in LA. So it's going to be cool to watch both of them kind of progress in their careers. And hopefully the Angels will add some decent players around them.
Yeah, I just the fact they don't he played 48 games in the minors and they're like you can struggle at the big league level. We don't give a shit. That I don't love that strategy. You saw, was it Shanuel, Nolan Shanuel or whatever? It's like kind of a miss on that. There's your was it Joe Adele kind of did that too. They just the way they develop prospects is not great.
Maybe Coby Mayo should play there.
I saw people like quote like my guy Woods over in San Diego was like, this is an outrage. He should definitely come over to San Diego. We would accept him with open arms. It's like, yeah, you probably, yeah, just trade him. Yeah. Um,
Uh,
all right. Next segment. It is so every spring training, as spring training comes to the end, we see a lot of guys have monster springs, like pitching out the ass, home runs for days. And like sometimes it carries over to the regular season, sometimes it doesn't. We're going to predict some of the spring training breakout stars who will like carry their spring training success into the regular season. Who do we trust to do that? I have a couple. I'll start with Mets starting pitcher Griffin Canning. So in 3 spring games this year, he has 10 innings, 16 Ks, only 1 earned run. This is a 180 from last year where he led the league in earned runs allowed. He had a cool 5.19 ERA. This is just another example of the Mets pitching lab just working wonders with dudes. They just looked at what his pitch type was, like what his stuff is like. Your fastball is ridiculously bad. Your changeup is good. Do less of the bad and do more of the good. It seems so simple. And they added a cutter and a sinker so that he doesn't have to throw the fastball as much anymore. So he is a reliable innings eater, going back to what we talked about Patty Corbin. In a Mets rotation full of guys when Manaea's hurt, like you just saw Clay Holmes as your opening day starter, and he's not a starter. So you need guys to give you 170, 180 innings. I think Griffin Cannon's going to do that, albeit, we're going to see if he can carry some of that success over. I have another shortstop. It is a shortstop, Jacob Wilson. So you're a big prospect guy. Did you believe in the hype of Jacob Wilson before and also now?
no, I was never a guy who was really that big on Jacob Wilson, to be honest. He's a big dude though, isn't he, for a shortstop?
I know he added 15 pounds. I think he was a kind of a lanky guy. Um,
Yeah, I was
okay,
never huge on Wilson though. I know he had a decent year last year in the minors.
he's 6'2", 190. Yeah. Um, so the thing with Wilson is he's a lot like Edwards in the fact that he's mostly contact, bat to ball. He had 70 grade bat, 45 grade power. Pretty big disparity. Like I said, this winter he bulked up. He added some more weight. This spring he leads the A's in homers with 4. I think he's a breakout star. Full-time shortstop over there in Oakland. A lineup you just talked about, guys like Lawrence Butler and Brent Rooker around him. So there's going to have a lot of guys to drive in, a lot of protection in the lineup. I am a big, big, big fan of Jacob Wilson. Draft him in fantasy too. In my last one, it's another pitcher. It's we'll do this quick. It's Red Sox starting pitcher Sean Newcomb. So you may remember that name from the Braves, like 2019 back to like 2017. He was a pretty good, 2 WAR season guy. He's a Mass native pitching for the Red Sox. I think he's going to win that 5th starter spot out of spring. In 4 spring games, 9 2/3, 10 Ks, 1 earned run. Dude's killing it. He's a lefty. I'm rooting for him. Like to have success like almost 10 years ago now, and to have it come full circle and like, have the Red Sox pitching people like get your confidence back and learn to throw strikes again. I'm a big fan of that story. So I'm rooting for Sean Newcomb.
I always thought Newcomb was a reliever.
He was he was a starter first. He was pretty good. And then they made him full time in the bullpen. And then he really hasn't had a full season's worth of work in like 5 years somehow.
Yeah, because I remember him as a reliever, but it's going to be tough up there in the Red Sox. They were talking about doing a 6-man rotation at one point, start the season. Kind
Yeah.
of see how that worked out. So it'll be interesting. Hopefully, he can carry what he's done in spring forward and maybe get a rotation spot.
Yeah, exactly. Comeback story. All right. Who are your guys?
All right. So the first guy I want to talk about was kind of glazing the Braves pitching staff earlier. So there's one more kind of under the radar guy in that pitching staff, just because he kind of gets overlooked when you have Sale, Strider, Lopez. But that is Spencer. I'm gonna butcher it, dude. Spencer
Schwellenbach?
Schwellenbach. Yep,
Yep.
Schwellenbach. So we got to see him a little bit last year. He started 21 games, 8-7 with a 3.55 or a 3.35 ERA. In spring so far, he's only given up 5 runs for like a 3.50 ERA. He's striking out 11.5 per nine, and right now he's only walking .7 per nine, which I think his numbers last year, if there was 21 starts, he was only striking out about 9. But his walks were pretty low last year too. I think he was only walking like 1.5 dudes per nine. So could be a high strikeout dude. Not going to walk a lot of guys. His whip is just a little over 1, so he's not going to give up a lot of base runners. I mean, imagine having this guy as your number 4 or 5 in a rotation behind the dudes I already talked about. He's crushing in the spring. I think he's going to have a big year.
Yeah, my Twitter feed has just become Spencer Schwellenbach.
And then you got AJ Smith-Shawver too, who he's kind of gotten some starts here and there throughout the big league as, the Braves injuries have kind of racked up. But that's another guy. I mean, those 5 dudes, very scary rotation.
Oh, yeah.
All right. The next guy I'm going to talk about, it's kind of hard to say if he can carry this success into the big league season because we don't even know if he's going to be on the big league roster when the season starts. But that is Curtis Mead down on the Tampa Bay Rays. So I'm sure everybody's aware of his spring training numbers at this point. At one point, he was batting like over 700. He was 14 for 18, which is insane. I think right now he's still leading all of spring training in average. He's hitting 576. The only downside is he's only hit 1 home run. He has 0 pop, but the strikeout and walk numbers are good too. He's walked 5 times, only struck out 3 times. So hard. And he's always kind of been a higher contact guy. I was looking at his minor league stats. His batting average is right around 300. I think it's 298 career minor league hitter. But out of the third base spot, he's only giving you about 15 homers a season. And this dude has been in the minors for a while now. His power has just not developed. But I think the most concerning thing with Mead is of his 18 hits so far this spring training, 17 singles.
No.
That's not what you want out of the third base spot. And then the reason he's probably not going to make the opening day roster, and if he does, it'll probably be in a bench spot. Tampa's got one of the most crowded infields right now. So you got Morel, who you traded for last year. You got Caminero. You got Lowe at second base. Yandy Diaz. Han-Sung Kim's going to come back at some point. So it's just crowded. But this is a dude who I would like to see get some big league playing time and see what he can do. He's been in the minors for a long time. At some point, they're going to have to call him up and see if he can actually hit in the majors.
Yeah, Australian baseball. Yeah, but he's May 2018 is when he initially got into the Pro Bowl. So I would like a full season's worth of at bats too. Oh, speaking of Coby Mayo, we didn't put a bow on this. He did tweet out like a notes app. I think it legit might be a notes app. He's like, the comments I made yesterday, the media after being optioned were by no means directed to the Orioles or Tides. I was just frustrated, blah, blah, blah. So I think his agent was like, you got to put this fire out because this is getting ugly.
So I'm not going to forget.
Never forget when Coby Mayo did that. No, I'm obviously a big Rays guy, so I hope Mead, breaks out. They definitely need a little juice in the lineup. All right. Season preview time. The way we're going to do it, we're going to run down division winners, any storylines that pop up out of that. Then we're going to do breakout teams, MVPs, Cy Young, and then World Series. Let's talk division winners. So here's who I think. I don't love these. These are probably going to be wrong. It's not really what you want to hear at the beginning of a prediction, but we'll start with the AL East. For a while, I just had the Yankees. I think the Cole injury is bigger than people think. I think the loss of Soto, the lineup's going to make it weird. I got the Orioles winning the division. I just remember, in 2014, they had a pitching staff full of like number 3s and 4s, and they won like 96 games and won the division. So in my mind, we're going to run it back a decade later. The AL Central, I like Kansas City. I think Jonathan India and Carlos Estevez are huge for that team. I know the division's loaded and everybody's going to pick the Detroit Tigers, but I don't know. I think the Royals got enough juice, BWJ in the lineup. So Detroit's lineup doesn't scare me at all. AL West, Texas. We're running it back. I think the lineup is one of the best in baseball. They'll figure out the pitching. I feel more confident about the way they can hit the baseball than most teams. The NL East, I like Philly. I don't understand how people are consistently writing off the Philadelphia Phillies. This team, they're like, I know, oh, they're getting old. They're all their lineups all older than 30. The rotation's still one of the best in baseball. You got Harper Turner, like they're fine. I love the Phillies rotation and so much. So we're gonna go with the Phils. The NL Central, I really wanted to do the Reds so bad. I just couldn't get myself there. I'm gonna go with the Cubs. I think they have the star power. I like the rotation. Kyle Tucker. We're gonna go with them. And then the Dodgers in the NL West. We don't really need to talk about that. What do you think?
All right, so I get a little different take on the AL East. I have the Red Sox winning it. I just feel like of all the teams in the MLB right now, like it feels like the Red Sox definitely have the best vibes out of any team that's out there. But honestly, I think the AL East is going to be a really disappointing division this year. I think the Orioles are due for a little bit of regression. The Yankees, I don't think that lineup is as good as everybody thinks. And like you said, I think Cole is going to be not having him is going to be huge. And then even the Red Sox, like you don't know if all these guys, are going to necessarily gel together and actually find a way to win games. Pitching is still kind of questionable there. Are the additions you brought in actually going to work? But I still have the Red Sox winning. Central, I picked the Guardians. In my opinion, it is the Guardians division to lose until, somebody can knock them off. I think. Honestly, I think it'll probably come down between the Guardians and the Twins. Because I like the Twins the three pitchers they got of Lopez, Ober, and Joe Ryan. But I still have the Guardians just edging them out a little bit. And then in the West, I also took the Rangers. Bruce Bochy, Hall of Fame manager, like dude's going to find a way to win. All the lineup underperformed last year, but those dudes are all going to bounce back. I think it's Corey Seager who always has like it's either Seager or Simeon, but they have like a bad year, a good year, a bad year, a good year. And hopefully Langford can hit too. I'm a big Langford guy. I want to see him do good things. On the NL side, on the NL East, I have the Braves winning that division. I feel like I've talked about their pitching extensively throughout the podcast, so I'm not going to retread that. But their offense was disappointing last year. Olsen, down year. Freaking Riley, down year. Harris was pretty good. Albies was pretty good, but I think their lineup is going to bounce back. The offense is going to be better. I think they win that division. It's going to be close with your Phillies, though, I think. In the NL Central, I actually do have the Reds winning it. I think Terry Francona coaching there now, hopefully changing that culture. I think that could, put them over the edge. Like the offense, Hunter Green leading that rotation. I really like that. And then in the NL West, like you said, we don't need to talk about it. We know who's winning that.
I am fascinated by your Guardians love. Also the Twins love. What's up with that?
I just I love the Royals are one of my favorite teams to watch. In my heart wants me to pick the Royals. But it's just like every year in that division. It's normally the Guardians. Sometimes the Twins sneak in there, win the division. But I just feel like it feels like it's the Guardians division to lose every year.
Yeah, I mean, also the Twins are at Royce Lewis is hurt again. Shocker. It's like the sun will come up tomorrow. Royce Lewis is hurt today. It's like, yeah, those are just a given.
They just always the Twins always just find random dudes who can hit that just they plug in and it works, and they just find a way to win games.
At Wallner, fantasy baseball, write that name down. Yeah, I know don't get me wrong. I spent like an hour today trying to get myself there on the Reds. I'm like Tito Francona, Ellie De La Cruz, Hunter Green. Like I love this team. I don't know, man. I think the Cubs got it. I think it's gonna be an ugly like 87 win division winner or something.
Yeah,
it's not gonna
that's
be
like one of those divisions. Like, no one really loves the Central,
It used to be the AL Central would be like, ew. Teams. Well, I also was reading like, do we really think any of these AL Central teams are good because you get to beat up on the White Sox for 13 games each? Just throwing that out there.
That is fair.
All right. Breakout team, MVP, Cy Young, World Series. My 2025 MLB breakout team, I will keep banging this drum until I'm proven correct. It is the Washington Nationals. This is the year they make some noise. To what level of noise, that is up for debate. I think the noise is a, above 500 record, but that would be considered breakout, I think, because, given they've always been like a 71 win team the last couple of years. So much young talent. The pitching staff, they have a pitching staff full of guys who are like NFL players. They're all just big, huge men that can throw the ball well. Um, Look out for the Washington Nationals. MVPs, I got Bobby Witt Jr. and Ohtani. I think Ohtani's a given. I think BWJ, he was snubbed last year. I think he's going to get it this year. Cy Youngs, we were talking about the Red Sox. Garrett Crochet. Garrett Crochet will win the AL Cy Young, and then Paul Skeens will win the NL Cy Young. And then my World Series, I'm terrible at these, so we're going to go with the Dodgers over the Orioles because I couldn't figure out who I wanted in the AL, so we're like, screw it. The hometown Orioles are going to get there.
All right. I think we have different picks for all of them, so that's good. All right, my breakout team, I got the Red Sox. I told you my concerns about them earlier, but 81 and 81 team last year, but they do have the potential to win 100 games this year. That could easily happen. I think that division, like I said, I think that division's going to be weak. They've already proven they can beat the Orioles. So it's hard to call them a breakout team when they have so many good players, but I think they could get over that hump, be a damn near 100 win team this year. AL MVP, I got Vlad Guerrero Jr. Dude mashed last year. It's a contract year. He's going to put up big numbers. He could be traded at the deadline and go to an even better offense where he's driving in even more runs.
Yeah.
Obviously, he can't play defense, so he's pretty much going to have to do it all through his hitting, but Ohtani did it last year. NL Cy Young, I got Juan Soto because I didn't want to go with Ohtani. Honestly, the issue, the top two candidates the top candidate for each league to win MVP should be Judge and Ohtani. But I think the issue that both those guys have, even if they put up huge years again this year, is voter fatigue. You see it in basketball. I think you're going to get some in baseball this year. I think last year a lot of people really wanted to go with Witt for the AL MVP, but like, nah, we got to go with Judge, But so this year, I think there's going to be some voter fatigue. I think Soto's going to have a really good year. I think he's going to win the NL MVP. Cy Young in the AL, I got Cole Reagans. I know you're a huge fan of him. The dude's a horse. I think he's going to have an incredible year. And hopefully for the Royals, I think we'll get to see him in the playoffs this year too. And then in the NL, talked about him earlier, I got my boy Spencer Strider.
Wow.
He's coming back, dude.
He's going to miss a month.
So what?
Yeah, I mean, Skeens almost won it, I guess. So, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I think Strider, he could miss a month and still lead the league in strikeouts. That is the impressive thing. And in the World Series, I have the Braves over the Red Sox.
You're high on the Braves.
I think the Braves are due for a good year, and I think they're one of the few teams in the NL that can actually knock off the Dodgers. I think pretty much the only teams that can is the Braves and maybe the Phillies.
I think the Phillies could get them.
I think so too.
The Padres. Don't forget the Padres. Remember last year? They were like, the Dodgers were like, those are the toughest teams we had to play in baseball or in the playoffs last year, were the Padres.
Yep.
So
I don't know. It'll probably be the Dodgers.
Well, yeah, that's why just like we shouldn't even play the season. We should just it's a video game, just skip to the next year. But yeah, I guess you're right. The Braves, I've seen a lot of people high on. They're like, oh, Acuna's coming back in like May or June, I think. So they'll have him. The guys like Matt Olson can't be as bad as he was last year. So people are high on him.
Yeah, I mean, you still got Albies, Harris, Riley. Like, you got great. Yeah. That's a great offensive team. They just had a down year last year.
Yeah, Ozuna was back, probably hurts because he had to carry the whole offense the entire season. So
that dude needs one more DUI and he'll start hitting like absolute bombs again, dude.
Yeah, people are high on the Bravos. So, all right, I think this is pretty comprehensive. This is Yeah, I'm just ready for the season to start, although it technically already has started. But I don't count. We should just like acknowledge as a fan base, to just like those games in Japan didn't count. So the real regular season is starts next week.
Yeah, they felt like exhibition games. They don't feel like real games.
They should have been an exhibition game. I don't know why they were regular season. All right. Well, this has been great. Can't wait for some regular season ball to get kicked off. As always, thanks for hopping on and talking ball.